Welcome, everyone. I am here with the wonderful Kim Balstad.
Yes, me. Mm-hmm.
That's how I say your surname?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Did it.
Excellent. First go. Kim is from Aum Nation, which is a community and online directory of spiritually minded businesses and practices. How are you, Kim?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to talk with you this morning.
I'm so happy to be talking with you as well, because you just have this whole bright, shiny personality thing going on, and it's lovely to just get that glow on you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Well, it doesn't hurt to have 2 cups of coffee first. I think that helps with the whole glow situation.
That certainly does help with the glow.
Yes.
I can't have coffee right now, otherwise I won't sleep. So.
Oh, yeah. No, because you are in Australia and I am in Texas in the United States. So.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, girl. So it's
Awesome.
8 o'clock in the morning. It's perfect for coffee.
Yes, indeed it is. I'm just going to turn that off. Sorry, that was my heater.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's cold here as well, and it's hot over there.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently. Yeah.
Yes. We need to switch places for like a week.
Just a week?
I may never come back. I was going to say, if I go to Australia, I may never come home. So.
Well, it is probably the best place in the world.
I know. You don't have to rub it in. Gosh, Ruth. Jeez.
I'm sure Texas is pretty amazing.
It is.
I have an auntie there. I told you that before. I have an auntie there, so it can't be too bad.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we have some pretty amazing people here. And I always say if my husband ended up moving, getting transferred for work, he could come visit me anytime. So I really don't have any desire to leave.
Excellent. Well, You don't have to go anywhere. It's okay.
Bloom where you're planted, girl. That's what we do.
Correct. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
Tell me about Aum Nation. What is
Aum
it?
Nation.
And I did say what it was, but from your perspective, what is it, and why did you start it? How did it start?
Yeah. Well, the Aum Nation, it's, it is an online directory, but more importantly, well, I guess as important, it's a community. And so, I created the Aum Nation for 2 reasons. Number one, so that people have a place they can go and find really heart-centered, spiritually minded practitioners and businesses to really help them live healthier, happier, more spiritually fulfilled lives. And the other side of the coin is that I wanted to create a space where practitioners and businesses could come together in a space of love, really, in a place where they can uplift one another. They could share ideas, they could find new friends, they could network, but it's all about positivity, and it's all about lifting each other up rather than what I was seeing out in the world. I worked at a yoga studio, a quite large yoga studio in the area that had a big teacher training department, and so we trained a lot of new people in that industry. And what I was seeing was there was a certain amount of practitioners out there that were not heart-centered and were kind of coming from it from a place of fear. So they were that dog-eat-dog mentality, like grasping for clients, grasping for students, which I understand where that comes from, because we all got to pay our bills, we all got to eat, we all got to do those things. But it is from a place of fear, and it's not. I really believe that when we come from a place of abundance and we come from a place of love and lifting up our fellow practitioners, our fellow light workers, that we all rise. And it's amazing to me that through the Aum Nation, witnessing this happen time and time again, where different members kind of network together, share clients, share ideas, share these different things, help promote one another, that invariably that comes back to that particular person tenfold, and their practice, their business just seems to thrive. So, I just love being a part of it. And like I told you before, I don't feel like I created the Aum Nation. The Aum Nation was going to happen regardless, which I think Spirit brings into the world things that need
whatever
to
is
happen.
needed.
Yeah, whatever's needed. And,
Mm.
if you're fortunate enough, if your energy aligns, whatever it is, that's your spirit's mission. I think you get the gift of being able to facilitate that. And if you're open to that moment, I guess. And so I feel very blessed that I get to be a part of it and meet such amazing people like yourself, who I got to just join the Aum Nation. I'm so thrilled to have you.
It's
But
great
yeah,
to be part of it.
Thank you. Oh, you're gonna have so much fun.
No
But it's,
doubt.
it's international. We do have members in 18 states in the United States, and I double checked, we are in 9 countries.
Awesome.
So, it's just that beautiful thing of, bringing the world together even more, which it is. We are a one world. We're one global unit now. Like we have countries, but honestly, we are like in each other's backyards now with the things like Zoom and, all these ways we communicate, as much as sometimes we curse technology because it drives us crazy. Speaking for myself, it's such a blessing. We are one world. My God, when could I have ever met you, Ruth? Like without this kind of technology, and
It would have been
be
really
with
hard
you.
pressed to meet each other, I
Yeah, I
imagine.
mean, obviously, if we're meant to meet, we would have met some
Sure.
crazy way. But how amazing is this world that we live in amidst the madness as well? So. Yeah, I mean, I kind of go on and on and on, but that's, it's really all about community and bringing everyone together and lifting each other up.
Yeah, that is so
Yeah.
beautiful. And you can see like all the people that are on there super heart based and
Yeah.
shiny, happy people. It's very
They
cool.
are, girl. We
Yeah.
got our problems too, but yeah, it's your outlook, and
Mm.
you choose to move forward from a place of joy and happiness in the midst of whatever you got going on. So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
got, we all have our bad days, but yeah, I'm blessed to be around positive people because, I think the more you work in this heart space, and the more you work on yourself spiritually,
Hmm.
the harder it is to energetically be around people that are maybe not energetically aligned. I guess that's a nice way of putting it, because
Yeah.
nobody's bad. They're just not, they're
Sure.
not in alignment with you. And I
Sure.
think it's nice to be surrounded when you are out in the world. And we do need to interact with everybody, because we learn from everyone. They learn from us. So we've got to not just cocoon ourselves. I'm all for being out in the world. We can't just live in our cave in the Himalayas, which would be lovely. Sign me up. I'd love it. But we have to be out there in the world spreading the light and doing those things, but it can be very draining. And so I think being part of a group as a light worker, as an energy healer, as a practitioner trying to help others, it helps fill our spirit, our soul, our energy by being around people that are in alignment with us.
Absolutely. Yes, it
Yeah.
does. I would like to talk to you and ask you if it is okay about something happened when your dad passed away. Can you
Yes.
talk a
Yeah.
bit about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it kind of goes to something that I feel very deeply about. And I kind of mentioned this to you, that there's 3 things that I wanted to share about I've been thinking a lot lately about, being over 50. And, in our culture, 50 is this, ooh, you're over 50. So I'm 52 now. And I was thinking what I had
Can I
learned.
just say you look great, by the way?
Oh, bless you. Bless you. Thank you. I guess it's being around people like you and, everybody else. It helps lift my spirits. But, yeah, I mean, you start reflecting, I think. And I was thinking about what I wish I had known, or if I could have had this knowledge when I was 20, how maybe it would have made things easier. But the story about my father, it goes to the first thing, which is everything that happens to you in your life is for your soul's highest good. So it really is, even though things may be bad, they may, be the worst possible thing in your life that you could ever happen. Like for me, the death of my father is the closest, thing that's happened in a negative way. That was the most traumatic loss I've had. But honestly, it ended up being the biggest, most wonderful gift I could ever have. I mean, it's been the most beautiful, wonderful thing I ever was given. So so I'll try to make this short. So my father had been dealing with cancer for quite a while. And in the end of summer, fall, or early fall 2001, he had been diagnosed as terminal. So we kind of got to the end of the road and ended up in hospice. And so the night that they felt like he probably was very close to passing, my mom, my sister, and I were taking turns. It was in the middle of the night. We're laying by we're in his bed at the hospice, taking turns sitting next to him by the bed, because there's one good chair right up near his head, And so in the middle of the night, I just happened to be sitting next to him at the point where I don't even know. I do know why. I think the reason I turned to look at his face, because you're in the middle of the night, you're kind of half asleep. You're just kind of sitting there listening to him breathing. And I turned to look at his face because I think energetically I felt what was coming off of him. And I looked over and he smiled 3 times. And I can't even express to you, Ruth, they were the most beatific. You hear that like from like the Bible, these words like beatific. It's like radiant smiles. And I could feel the energy emanating out of him. I have goosebumps every time I think about it, because I can't express exactly. It's like I could feel the joy coming out. And then he was gone. That was it. He was gone. But it was like I could not be sad. And of course I was like, Mom, I knew something. It was like I couldn't even get them because I was so caught up in the moment. But what a blessing, my friend. I'm so thankful. That was a gift to me from my father, I felt like. Because it transformed my whole life. Like he brought us up to always wonder and explore different religions. And I wouldn't say we were a religious family, but we were very spiritual. We were kind to one another. We looked into different things. He always loved different philosophies. So I was open, but I was young. I was into my own, I was into things that weren't worldly. But that sent me on a whole new trajectory. And, after that, I voraciously read everything I could about, after death, all the books about, what happens on the other side. So it was through the death that I started discovering more and more. And then I got into, of course, Buddhism and different Vedanta and different, all different philosophies of Western, Eastern religions, just everything you can imagine.
Sure.
And through that, then of course, it led me to, practicing yoga and doing all of those kind of more spiritually minded practices, meditation. And that led me to working at Yoga, which was what ended up kind of facilitating the idea of doing the Aum Nation. So it's like, I really felt like that moment in time, we had already kind of preordained or whatever, that I got that gift to propel me. That's not a word.
Propel.
Thank you, my love. Words are hard. Words are so
Sometimes
hard.
they are, yes. I agree. I agree.
Um, dirt. But yeah, to propel me to do what I didn't even know I wanted to do.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.
It's
And
such
I get
it's
that.
such
I
an
get
amazing
that.
thing.
Yeah. There's so many moments in time where you think, and I think we were having this conversation the other night when we were
Mm-hmm.
talking, where it was we were saying how, when you come to a point in your life when you're doing something that you really love, and it feels organic and it feels really natural, and like you're just meant to be doing it, and then you kind of
Mm-hmm.
look back on your life and you go, well, it kind of makes sense why I needed to do that, because I was like, I didn't want to do that at the time, but I learned this skill there. And same with that other job, or that other task I had to do, or the other person that I had to meet, or this or that, and it all kind of comes together like this big jigsaw puzzle piece.
Oh,
And it's just all fits,
I
like
love
it's
that.
just,
I love that analogy.
yeah, it's just like they all slot in together perfectly, and you're just like, I've arrived, I'm done, good, awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
you're never really
Right?
done, really, but
But you're at a place where it's like, wow, it's like the shoe finally fits,
mm, yeah,
If you're like me, I always kind of felt like nothing quite fit right, like that
yeah,
shoe never felt
same,
comfortable.
same.
Yeah. And then you start doing something and it's like we were talking about. So like my second thing, and this goes right into the second thing that I kind of discovered about my life, and I feel like it's a universal thing, is that the universe is helping you achieve your goals even when you don't know what that end goal is. So
Mm-hmm.
like you said, all those, say, dead end jobs, or those jobs you just didn't like, or you don't know why you got into that position doing whatever you were doing, or that, say, that hobby, even whatever it might be, whatever in your life, or that relationship that didn't work out, that eventually at some point down the road, you're going to get to a place where you look back and you go, I get it now. I learned this. I learned how to communicate from that person. I learned how to, do these particular skills at this particular job, how to organize at this crummy job I hated, or I learned
Yeah.
how to deal with difficult people here, or whatever it is. And then now where you are in this space, at this, doing whatever it is you're doing that you had no clue you'd ever end up doing, it all, like you said, it fits perfectly like a jigsaw puzzle. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's almost mind-blowing
Mm-hmm.
when you can look back and reflect. If only you'd known, only you had a crystal ball looking forward, but unfortunately we don't. Most of
It
us
doesn't work
don't.
that
Some of
way.
us do. Some of us
Well,
do, but some of us
yes, that
don't.
is true. That is true.
But yeah, it's really fascinating too.
Mm.
It's silly, but it almost makes me giddy when I think about the universe. And of course I think of God, but that's such a trigger word for a lot of people. But that energy that creates everything, which is us, which means we're part of it. We are God. We are part of that energy. How amazing all of it is. Like,
Mm.
it's
Yeah,
it is mind blowing,
it is mind blowing.
and it makes me
Absolutely.
so happy.
Mm-hmm.
The good, the bad, the ugly. It's all amazing.
Yes, yes, it is. I had a moment today actually when I was walking I look after my housemate's dog. She's actually away at the moment. And sorry, you have to excuse, I'm a little bit hoarse tonight. I did some vocal coaching earlier, and I just kind of stretched them out a little bit too far, but that's okay.
You have a nice, sexy voice. It's all good.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Awesome. Excellent.
Yes.
It made me go all red, but that's okay.
Oh, no. My job here is done. I know.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking Leroy out for a walk today, and it was such a beautiful day. And I just had this moment where it was like just this wave of gratitude just came over me, and it was just, you know, like I can pretty much do whatever I want when I want. I have the freedom to do whatever I want when I want. I'm walking this beautiful animal next to me. It is a beautiful day. You know, the sun is shining, the birds are singing. I'm healthy. Like it's just like everything was just like, and just this elation came over me, you know, and it's so amazing because I mean, that's part of it, isn't it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, God and the energy
Yeah.
and feeling it, and just being in that moment where you realize that you're part of it all, and it's so mind-blowing, and it's just too much sometimes, you know. But it's like, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm having more and more of those moments every day now, and I'm so grateful for those moments, you know.
I love that you say that. I love that because it is about being in the moment, you know, because it's when we get out of our head that it's all waiting there. That moment's waiting there. That feeling of being the oneness is there at all times. It's just we get so caught up, and it's not really our fault. I mean, it's life, you know. We're human beings, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we're human beings, and we've got these brains that won't stop, and we've got life. But wow, you're right. It's such a blessing. It's such a beautiful thing when we have that clarity and we're in that moment and we can just feel that oneness, and that oneness is love. And so, because everything is love, and when we get rid of all the when we clean the lens off, you know, and we can see clearly, we feel that love and we see that love, and it's just almost too much. Like, it's almost like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It is incredible. It is an amazing
It's such a
feeling.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. And number 3, Kim?
Oh, Lord. Well, number 3, what is it? Let me have to look because my brain is so like, I'm in that moment now. Oh, yes. Yeah, this is good. So, and it goes along with what we're saying. So you may not consciously know what your life purpose is, or your life mission, or what you're here on this planet to do, but your soul and the universe know. So it's the universe, God, everything is conspiring to help you get to that place. So the secret to fulfilling what you're here to do is to open up to the yes energy. And I don't know if that's a real term or anything, but that's what I say. So to me, in my mind, when I say the yes energy, it means not having resistance to those opportunities, those things that come up in life that maybe scare you, that your first instinct may be to pull your energy back, and you're like, oh, I don't know. It's kind of, that's not something I've done before. It's out of my norm. But it's doing it anyway, you know, being open. It's really about being open to that moment and going with that moment. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about doing something that could harm you and that's ridiculous, you know, scary. But I'm talking about things like, oh, you want to be on a podcast? I don't know. I don't like talking about myself, you know. But you know what? I'm going to just say yes. And then later I'll deal with the fallout of like, oh, what did I do? I'm going to have to do this thing. But it's like those moments in your life when you stand up and you do them, oh my gosh, you grow exponentially, and you grow towards whatever that life purpose is, you know. It's really funny because I always think about, you see these people that are successful in every walk of life, you know, not whatever they're doing, you know, CEOs, you know, people that are caregivers, whatever their particular thing is, and they're successful at it and they're happy. And I mean successful, not necessarily monetarily, but in their life, their joy, their happiness, their peace. They'll always be the ones that went towards the yes energy, that said yes, that didn't draw back. They leaned forward into that. And, you know, they're not always the smartest. They're not always the best at whatever that particular thing is.
So true.
You know, it's just that they didn't withdraw. They went
took
for
the
it.
risk. Yeah.
They took the risk.
Yeah.
And I can speak to that because for years, I want to say 40 years, the first 40 years, maybe 35 years of my life, I was the one always shrinking back, going, no, that's, you know, finding a way out of doing whatever it is and not. And then you just get to the point where you're like, I don't want to do that. I need to fulfill whatever it is that's drawing me, because otherwise the universe is going to keep putting those things in front of you. It's going to continue to give you those opportunities.
Yeah. Because
you need to do it. Like we were talking about, spirit's going to want to bring something into this world. And if that's what your purpose is, it's going to keep trying to help nudge you, but you have free will. And so you can choose to stand up in that moment and kind of go towards it or not. And, you know, it doesn't matter. Maybe it takes you 75 years. So what? If you get there at the end, that's okay. I'm not dissing myself for not doing it. I mean, I wish I would have, just because I would have been happier if I'd kind of leaned in forward and went towards the yes energy instead of pulling back into the no place. But
maybe you wouldn't have learned all the things that you needed to learn before you took that plunge. So
yes, exactly. So you don't want to look back and criticize. You want to look back and go, wow, look where I am now and what I've learned. And now that I kind of realizing, and not saying that there aren't times that I screw up and go to the fear and go, no, and then later I thought, you know what, I should have taken that opportunity. I should have risen to that challenge. But you know, we're human. But now that I know that yes energy, I'm like, okay, most of the time I do rise to that energy. And I think that's just one of those things that if I could put that there to anybody, to everybody, I would tell them, when you feel that resistance, before you say no, before you withdraw, just take a moment and examine, is this really something I can't do? Or am I just a little hesitant? And if it's just that I'm a little nervous and it scares me a little bit, then say yes. And then just do it, because you will be so happy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that in your life, and you know,
so many times.
Yeah.
So many times. Yeah. And I'm probably more of a risk taker, definitely, than I am in the past. It was in really harmful ways for myself. But I think it's flipped now. So I'm a risk taker to that scary stuff that I know is going to propel me into something amazing. That's going to help me grow and expand. Yeah, despite what the people around me think. It's like, oh man, this girl's crazy. I'm like, yep, but I'm happy.
Well, most of the visionaries out there were called crazy.
Yeah. I know.
And to me, a visionary is not, I mean, I have a lot of friends that are visionaries, but it's not to diss them, but everybody can be a visionary in whatever it is. It's just opening up to spirit and energy and just doing whatever it is your heart desires and makes you sing without fear of people thinking you're nuts. And
Mm-hmm.
that's to a visionary, you know, you do it anyway because you know you're called to do it and it brings you joy and it needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're really driven with the knowledge that this is something that needs to be born into the world. So
Yeah,
those are visionaries.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's really cool.
it is super cool. Look
And
at
I
us
love the
go.
Aum Nation because I'm surrounded by a lot of visionaries. So it's
Yes.
cool.
Yes, very cool. You need to introduce me to some, Kim.
Oh, I will. I've already got a list of names, girl.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, I know, right? So many awesome people to meet there. I mean, everybody in this world has so many gifts. I grew up feeling like, I don't know why, because my parents always tried to build me up, but I grew up with such a very low self-esteem and such a negative view of myself.
Wow.
And I just sit there and think, my gosh, if I could pick up that little girl and say, you are a divine spirit, you know, you have infinite beauty, infinite love, infinite wisdom. If only I had known that and really believed that. There's one thing to know it, but then to believe it, right?
Mm.
But it's like, God, my life, you know, it just would have been easier to traverse this journey, you know?
Sure. Sure.
So I want that. If I, you know, if I could leave your listeners with anything, it's like, please, no, go within, meditate, because I think that's where you really feel it and discover it. You are, you know, you're infinite spirit. You are a child of God. You are that infinite love energy that pervades all, that is all. And know that, and you can do anything because, you know, you already have the wisdom to do it.
Mm.
It's just going out there and pursuing it, putting in
Yeah.
some effort.
Just getting out of your own way, really.
Girl,
Mm.
I should have written a few books. I could have told you every single way to get in your own way. I mean, I have an encyclopedia's worth of knowledge of how to get in my own way. All sorts of tricks. But yes, yes. Ego
Yeah.
is good at getting in our own way.
Oh,
That's why we got to get rid
ego's
of the ego.
amazing.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Mm-hmm,
wild.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it certainly serves a purpose.
Yes, we
Um,
need it. A healthy ego. We
a
need a
healthy
healthy
ego. Yeah,
ego.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's not a bad thing in
No.
and of itself. It's actually quite good. But once
Yeah.
it starts getting too big for its boots and out of proportion, you know,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
when that's when it gets in our way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, live and
Yeah.
learn, right? Live and
Oh
learn.
my God, that's right. That's the name of the game. I think
Mm,
that's part of the whole gig. That's why we're here, right? You know,
absolutely,
if
absolutely.
I had to sign up to come to Earth and do this whole trip, I better learn something out of it because I really, really want to incarnate maybe somewhere a little more like Club Med incarnation next time, like somewhere that's like you lay on the beach, you know, you have a few free drinks and, you know, it's just maybe a little
Where
more chill incarnation next time.
is this like a Club Med planet or
Yeah,
dimension,
that's
or
what I
is this
mean.
it
Like,
on Earth?
no, not on Earth.
Oh God, sorry.
No,
Okay, not on Earth.
no, no,
Okay,
no. I mean,
gotcha.
God, I love Earth, but this can be challenging. I mean, look at our world right now, but we all signed up to be here. Now, at this moment in time, we're here. Our spirits are here for a reason. And like we said, you know, great things are going to come out of all of this turmoil at the moment. It's just, we're in the throes of childbirth, as I said. And we talked about that, you know, on the other side of the childbirth, we're all going to come away with this beautiful new creation that, you know, that's going to help make this a much more beautiful place for everyone.
Mm,
And I do believe that. I mean, it's just how long that childbirth's going to take. I don't know, you know,
yeah.
but that's why there's people out there in the world like you who are doing programs like this, doing podcasts, who are people like in the Aum Nation who are out there helping others, you know, raise their vibrations to live happier lives, because the
It's
more and more.
people like you bringing all those people together as well.
Mm, well,
Let's not
thank
forget about
you.
Kim.
Ah, can't we for a minute? But
Sorry.
no, thank you.
No.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, that's what's going to help us get through this faster.
Mm.
So thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it, and for having a platform for all of these people to come on and talk about what we need to hear, you know?
Yeah, well, it's honestly like you were just saying, it kind of has like birth itself almost. I
Yeah.
was just kind of like the puppet. That's
Hmm.
like it just kind of filled me, and I was like, okay, I gotta do this thing now. And it's
Yeah.
like I have to be a crazy woman about it and make sure I'm working on it all the time, every day, and like getting a bajillion different people coming at me to like that I have to interview, and they're all
Yeah.
beautiful and they're all amazing and they all have an amazing story and amazing gifts and like knowledge to impart.
Mm,
People that are, you know, and I did this because I wanted for people that are kind of maybe just waking up, you know, like
mhm.
they're just going, I feel weird, I feel different, I feel like
Yeah.
stuff doesn't fit, and I don't know why. Like, what is this? Like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? This is why I wanted to do this, so that people like that are kind of just, you know, feeling a little lost right now,
Mhm.
unsure where to go, you know, here's some info. Go
I
do
love
your
that.
thing. Yeah.
Because
uh,
I would have eaten up this podcast when, and I love it now, but I mean, where you're coming from the place of just kind of waking up. So after my father passed, and I was like voraciously, like anything I could get, any knowledge I could get my hands on, you know, anything that, you know, I could learn from, you do get to that point because like you said, you feel different, and the things that made you feel normal before don't necessarily work anymore, and a lot of the people around you don't, you know, you're in this very strange place when you start
it's very
kind of
lonely.
raising that
Wow.
consciousness. Yeah, so it's important, you know, it's
Mm,
important to have that support and
mm,
those resources to help people. So yeah, I love it. It's really a great thing.
thank you.
Yeah.
What would you, what would be your advice to people that are kind of just starting to get
Mm.
a get a whiff of what's happening?
Mhm. um I guess my advice would be to number one, meditate. You know, people always, oh, meditate, meditate, whatever. But I really feel like that does help you tune into that essence of who you really are more than anything else. I mean, you can read a million things, you can hear a million things, but unless you quiet down and you know, you don't have to sit in lotus position, you don't have to do it, lay in your bed and just be quiet and still and just breathe. You're gonna it naturally, your soul knows what to do, so naturally you're gonna get to that space. You know, don't make it complicated.
Mm,
I would say meditate. And then number two is don't be hard on yourself. I was so hard on myself when I first started like exploring my spirituality and raising my awareness, and you know, because I would always, if I screwed up, if I yelled at, I don't know, somebody for screwing up something, you know, or, you know, you lose your temper or you do whatever, I was like, that's not a good person. That's not a spiritual person. What's wrong with me? You know what? You know, we're human. You're not going to change overnight. You know, you're not going to, and I still do shitty things that I go, oh, that
mm,
was, you know, what possessed me? That's not me. You know, we're human beings. So just be kind to yourself, you know,
yes.
be compassionate.
Mm,
Because a lot of times you're way, 99.9% of the time, you're way more compassionate for others than you are for yourself.
yeah, so
So,
true.
and I'm preaching the choir here because I'm the worst person to myself. So that would be it. It would be meditate and be kind to yourself. Yeah.
Amazing advice. Meditation, absolutely. Like, that's probably my number one as well. I know for a lot of people, especially people that aren't used to it, don't really know much about it, all they think is, all they know about it is you sit there and they think that you have to quiet your mind. And they're
Yeah.
like, I can't do that because that is impossible. And I'm like, you're right. You can't do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like,
No. No.
most people can't. Like, even monks that have been doing it
Yeah.
for millennia still can't quiet their minds. But it's not really about that. It's about, that focus of observing, coming from that
Mm-hmm.
observation place,
100%. It's,
and
yeah,
not
you are spot on.
not judging anything that comes into your mind. Just, watch it come in, watch it go out,
Mm-hmm.
and just be
Well,
okay
it
with
makes you,
whatever comes in, like.
exactly, because it
Mm,
makes you that through that process, you become the observer.
mm,
And when you become the observer, you realize I'm not my mind. I'm observing it. I'm not my body. So what is that thing? And once you get to that disconnect of being the observer, that's when you realize I'm that soul, I'm that spirit, and you realize you're eternal. And I feel like that's when the epiphany happens,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
know? Yeah.
Agreed. Meditation is definitely what helped me in a major way,
Mm-hmm.
wake up to things.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I actually had something I came into my head to say, and it's gone.
No.
It's okay. It's all right. Um, do you want to maybe touch on, how maybe you used to be like when you were like all go, 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 and then what happened?
Oh, you mean my health situation?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm an open book, my friend.
All right, cool.
There's no secrets with me.
Cool, because I think that's
Oh,
really important to touch on as well.
yeah.
Most people everywhere are just running on stress, and they're just
Yes.
like, and that's part of the reason why they're so funny about meditation, because it's like,
Mm,
if they're not busy doing something at all times, as long as they're not sleeping, then like there's no like resting, there's no recuperation for the body and soul. Like, even when
yeah.
to relax or to de-stress, they go and work out and do
Yes.
something
Yes.
hardcore or go for a run, and it's like, that is great too. And running, for example, can be a great meditation. But
Hmm.
you're still that's still a form of stress that you are putting onto your body,
Yeah.
it. And there's only so much stress that your body can deal with until, well, you can tell your story.
Yes. Until I happen. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. We're inundated with stress, self-created and just life that happens regardless. But we put a lot of stress upon ourselves, and I'm the queen of putting stress upon myself. Because, like I said, I'm hard on myself, so I'm constantly. At least the couple years ago, I would, put more and more pressure on myself to do more, to, um, be better at my business, be better at being a wife, being better at being a mother, doing more on the house, doing it's just build, 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 build. And so I got to a point where my family kept telling me, you've got to slow down, you're stressed out. And I didn't see it. You get to the point where it becomes we were talking, it becomes your normal. You don't see it anymore. But everybody around you sees that you're completely stressed out. And that's what happened to me. And I guess it was about a year and a half ago. Year and a half ago. Yeah. I hit my body. Everything just said, you know what? We've been trying to get you to slow down. The universe said, we've been trying to get you to slow down, and you don't listen. All these things are coming up that I was going right over my head, trying to get me to slow down. And so the universe said, you know what, this is going to be a lesson. And I ended up getting really ill. And at first I thought it was just a cold, a flu, like some kind of virus. But long story short, I was basically in bed almost all day, every day for about a year. Gone to so many different doctors, couldn't figure out what was going on. You know, a lot of them were like, you know, maybe you need some antidepressants. Maybe, you know, it's just in your head. Maybe it's fatigue. You're not sleeping. One of them told me you need better sleep hygiene. You know, all of these things, which, you know, I get, but it wasn't that. So long story short, I did finally find what it was. It's an autoimmune disorder, and was able to get some help. But honestly, throughout all of it, and now I'm functioning much better, thank you God. I'm able to have a relatively normal energy throughout most of the day until late afternoon. But you know what? I feel so grateful that this happened, that I was given this autoimmune disorder, because if I hadn't, I'd still be doing what I was, which was not, that's not helping anybody doing, you know, being under that much stress. I wasn't, looking back now, I see I wasn't able to help myself. I wasn't really able to be a good servant for others. And I've learned and I've grown so much through this process of having to slow down. It's made me reflect even more. It's made me appreciate and be grateful for energy to be able to function in life. You know, all those things I took for granted. And now I'm like so grateful on a day that I have really good energy. And so, you know, to me, it's just another part of my journey. It's another part of my soul growth. And I am grateful every day that I had this opportunity. It goes back to number number two. No, number one.
It could be like a bit of one, bit of two.
That everything happens for your soul's highest good. And this is another thing where, yeah, it sucks, you know, nobody wants to be stuck in bed. I was miserable, you know, but a lot of beautiful things have come out of it and continue to come out of it. So, yeah, I mean, I do have days where I feel sorry for myself. And I do have days where I'm like, oh, when am I ever going to feel normal? You know, it's just because you're a human being. But the overriding feeling and knowledge is that I'm grateful, and that what a blessing this is. And I think everything in life is about perception, you know, because honestly, and I do feel like, you know, all of this that we put out there into the world, this is all us creating this illusion, this world that we're all growing and living in, and this petri dish that we all are in. And so if I perceive that I'm miserable and this sucks, and, you know, I hate my life because I can't run like I used to. Now I have to walk, and not very far. But then it's going to suck if that's how I look at it. But if I look at it like, wow, I still get to go out in the sunshine and walk and be out here for a little bit. What a blessing. Now I appreciate that more. Before I took it for granted. Now I'm like, yes. So it's all about perception.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful outlook. I'm sorry that it had to come to this for you to kind of come here, but also at the same time, it's obviously your journey. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not sorry. I'm not, you know, it would have been great if I would have been more aware. But I'm thankful that I was given this so that I could become aware.
Absolutely.
I would not want to go back to a year and a half ago when I was stressed out on my mind and my priorities were not in alignment. They were too askewed. now I feel more in balance. And it really is about balancing, you know, it's some stress is very helpful. We need a little stress in our lives to get us sometimes the momentum to do what we need to do, but it's about balancing. And like you said, balancing the stress with that time of restoration, you know, whatever that may be. And I was the queen of, oh, exercise is my relaxation, but it wasn't the kind of restoration that I needed. It was another form of stress. Yeah. So
yeah, it sounds like you definitely needed to stop completely and just take up a lotus position in the corner somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Before I ended up just rocking side to side in like a soft padded cell, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's all a good thing, you know?
Yeah, it is. Kim, you have been amazing, and I really appreciate your time here with me. I really do.
Thank you so much. You filled my
such,
heart. You filled my
feel mine. It's just beautiful being and talking to you and being here and seeing you talk, and you just radiate so much love and beauty, and it's just I love being in front of you.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. Well, this has been a joy,
you.
and I really do feel grateful that I got to speak with you and, you know, be on your podcast and be able to speak to your listeners. Yeah, and if anybody, I definitely encourage people to check out
please
our
tell
website.
us, tell people where to go. Yep.
So if they go to the aumnation.com, and it's AUM Nation, so it's just the different spelling of Aum. So it's www.theaumnation.com. They'll check out our website. If they want to find a practitioner or a business, we have services, products, all sorts of stuff, and there's new members every day. If you are a wellness provider, if you're a practitioner, if you have a wellness related business and you want to be part of our community, we welcome you in, so they can find out how to do that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kim.
You
are an absolute delight.
Much love. You are too, my friend. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Stay warm down under.
Yes, always.
All right. Take care.